A very good evening and welcome to the webinar on ESG reporting, Part 2 Sustainable Future by ESG Research Foundation. Today we have with us very esteemed speakers and guests, CA Deepak Batra sir, CA Dr. Rashmi Ainapur, Mr. Rajesh Bhalla sir, and Ms. Pooja Sharma. I would first like to introduce Mr. Rajesh Bhalla sir to tell us a little bit about ESG Research Foundation. Sir is the CEO of ESG Research Foundation. He is a former additional secretary of the Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is highly experienced professional with more than 38 years of experience. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Joyji. So I'll just give a brief about this ESG Research Foundation. It is a not-for-profit organization and has been dedicated to promoting the significance of environmental, social, and governance aspects in business operations within the public and private sectors. We conduct various activities, collaborates with corporates and regulatory bodies, banks, and support organizations in implementing their ESG plans. We are also working together with the government bodies, public and private sector businesses, societies, and we strive to facilitate the achievement of India's ESG and climate-related goals. The Prithvi Awards, along with Global Conference on ESG, is a part of our prestigious event to promote ESG awareness and support organizations in their ESG initiatives. Last year, we conducted this prestigious award, followed by the Global Conference in July at Hotel Shangri-La, wherein we have also given awards, recognized sustainability icons from different categories, corporates, PSUs, NGOs, startups, self-help groups, and individuals. This year also, we are organizing this prestigious Prithvi Awards on 14th September 2024 at Hotel Ashoka, and we are opening nominations and registrations very soon. To continue and fulfill our mission, ERF provides comprehensive support throughout an organization's ESG journey, covering the entire value chain from initial assessment to policy development, implementation, and reporting. We offer end-to-end solutions to tailored made as per our clients' requirements. Beyond these core services, we also endeavor to make a lasting impact through various activities by organizing webinars, conferences, training programs, specialized in ESG, fostering capacity building and knowledge sharing among diverse stakeholders. The ESG Research Foundation has collaborated with Ramanujan College, University of Delhi, and launched an online recognized course on fundamentals of ESG and sustainability. The 2 batches already completed, wherein we have trained more than 6,000 participants, which were enrolled from banks, PSUs, corporates, universities, etc. And this batch, next batch, already we have opened. We have started from yesterday, and registration to this batch are still open till 30th April. Also, we have launched a very basic level course on ESG and sustainability literacy for the school students. And that next batch is going to be announced. And already, in fact, we have announced to be organized in May. Continuing our efforts, we have also engaged more than 100 counselors across India for spreading ESG sustainability literacy and to inculcate the seed of sustainability among the students, being the youth and the future of the nation. Continuing this effort, we are also going to establish requesting various schools to establish sustainability clubs, and we are also recognizing their activities through our various events. Thank you very much. Now I am handing over to Juhiji to please onward the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the information with us. Now I would like to invite our esteemed speaker, CA Deepak Batra, sir, to address the participants. CA Deepak Batra, sir, is the founder, promoter, and the director of ESG Research Foundation. Sir is specialized in policy formulations, project finance, and advisory to smart cities, forensic audits, risk management, and management consulting. He's worked globally and has experience of working in China and various European countries, Malaysia, Japan, etc. Deepak sir is esteemed fellow of Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also qualified in law. He has been project director in number of World Bank aid projects. He has 30 years of experience in working with leading PSUs and over 200 state and local bodies, including banks, Indian Railways, and urban local bodies. He is active speaker to various national and international forums and conferences. I welcome him on behalf of all the participants. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Juhi. This topic of today's webinar is on circular economy, ESG framework, and social stock exchange. I'll just share one brief about ESG in my own experience way back. When we did one transaction with the DFID, Department for International Development, UK, at that point of time, for the first time, I came across this particular term called ESG. Because the line of credit was to be given by DFID to NHB, National Housing Bank, and this particular ESG assessment was to take place. Way back, I'm talking about some 20 years back, and we were, thinking that what exactly it is, and more like, formality kind of thing I was treating it at that point of time. Now, over a period of time, globally, everybody has recognized, and further the process is on, the pace is also on to see and understand that only making profit in the business is not the only goal. The goal is sustainability. That sustainability need to come in, and all the global changes which are happening, they are happening at a very fast pace. We need to keep a pace with those changes and to see that the challenges which are ahead, those challenges are to be understood, mitigated, and taken forward. Today we have a very eminent faculty with us, CA Dr. Rashmi Ainapur. She is PhD in sustainability. This itself, gives a great recognition to the overall efforts which he is going to make in this particular webinar. That apart from the degree in LLB and MBA Finance, she did PhD in sustainability reporting, which is one of the topic today. She is also certified professional for GRI 2021 standard, BRSR standard. The certification is from the ICAI, and she has also completed her sustainable investing certification from Harvard Business School. So we have today an opportunity to listen to her in this particular webinar and to understand the overall topic which has been selected for today's webinar. Now I hand over the mic to Rashmi with a request to use the full time which is available and be there as a guide to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, I would like to thank ESG Research Foundation for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and special thanks to Atul sir, Rajesh sir, and Deepak sir, and Juiji and Pooja for all the coordination and efforts you people are putting in creating the awareness through this foundation. And I always feel privileged when I speak on this platform. Thank you again, sir. So without any delay, let me start the session. And I thank all the participants for attending. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So ESG reporting, ESG has created buzz around the world in the few years. I can say it's not decades, but in few years when it comes to concept of ESG. But it doesn't mean that it was not there before. It was there, but it was having different names. So let us try to understand how it has evolved, and then we will go on to the other topics. So inevitably, as sir was also telling, CA Batra sir, ESG reporting is very important for the sustainable future. So we will just dive into the topic. So we'll be understanding what actually ESG stands for in couple of minutes, not wasting too much time on that. And next we will move on to understanding the concept of circular economy, and will understand why sustainability reporting matters. It has become buzz all over globe now. Why is it important? Okay, I am doing sustainable practices in my company, but why reporting? Then we will understand few global reporting frameworks, how it has evolved over a period of time, and how do we map these frameworks. Is it like, when we are following different frameworks, do we need to generate different reports or one report is sufficient? We will try to understand that. And social stock exchange, of late it has been started in India. Let us also try to touch upon this latest concept. So ESG, as I said, it was there from many years, but the term ESG was coined in 2004 in the report Who Cares Wins. So it is evident that ESG is of not recent origin, it was there from many years. What happened was, because of industrialization, there was lot of emission. Even the company was not aware. They would be aware only when the communities around us, when the internal stakeholders, when they used to complain about their health, only then the company used to take the measures where they can reduce those emissions. This is how it started as a sustainable practice. But going on, if we see today what has happened, there is overproduction. Overproduction is due to overconsumption. If we see our own lifestyle, we are not the same like we used to be before, because of the disposable income, because of the economical prices. One item which I was able to buy past maybe 2-3 years back, now with the same money I can buy 4 to 5 items. Why I am telling all these things is, the main problem where all these mandates are to be introduced is because of the overconsumption what we are doing. So that is how in 2015 the SDGs were developed, because there was disparity in the living of people across the globe. It is not that only the developing countries should get the benefit from all the measures, it should be spread across the globe. That is how the SDG was developed. Paris Agreement was signed between countries. And if we see, there are 17 SDGs, and those 17 SDGs are signed by 193 countries. The pact is signed by 193 countries. And the SDG, further it is divided into 169 targets and 232 indicators. So how to read a SDG? So for example, I've given one example here. Goal 1, that is no poverty. So further divided into target 1.1, there is again 1.2, 1.3 and all. So by 2030, so there has to be a proper explanation. So what goal 1 is trying to achieve? So by 2030, eradicate poverty across globe. So what is the definition of poverty? That is $1.25 per day. Every person should be earning that. Only then we can call it there is no poverty in the country or the across globe. So further indicators specify the demography and the geographical bifurcation. This is how whoever is interested in understanding SDG can understand it. So let us try to understand what ESG stands for. So it was already there in the form of CSR. Even before CSR, if we take the legend example or a classic example, what we can call as starters, it was there in their culture. They always believed in community development and value creation. Profit motive was not their main vision. So that was given a coined a word with CSR. That was given a name of CSR, where there was a mandate that companies have to spend 2% of their average profits based on the net worth and the turnover of the company on the sustainable practices. That is the community development or the social development or any other things, maybe like in the form of education or in the form of health or eradication of poverty. Then came the concept of ESG. Then we have question like, when CSR is there, what is the need of ESG? CSR, maybe we call in India it as CSR because different countries have different terminologies. The comparison becomes difficult. We have multinational presence. There is cross-border transactions going on nowadays. Because of that, we need a global framework where the report which I produce in India, it should be understood and it should be used across globe. That is how the concept of ESG came. And ESG is measured across 3 pillars, that is environmental, social, and governance aspects. If you can see just few examples I have given here. So in environment, the company is supposed to report on its emissions. GHG emission is a huge problem now. First of all, what we are supposed to do is in phased manner. We are supposed to address the issue. We are already facing the climate change, right? So GHG emission overnight, it cannot reduce. So what we are supposed to do is first we are supposed to report. We are supposed to calculate what is our emission. Then we are supposed to understand whether we can use renewable resource instead of burning fossil fuels. This is how we have to understand each and every area of our business activity. So this is how the ESG reporting helps. When we try to report on ESG factors, we will improve the quality of our business. So this in relation to environment. And when it comes to social, there has to be protection of human rights. Child labor should not be there. Community welfare. When a company or a factory is set up, the community around it should be protected, and the stakeholder health and safety. When it comes to governance, there should be minimum conflicts of interest. There should be board diversity and quality of management. And in the environmental, we can see waste management. So that is where the circular economy comes into picture. So circular economy, we are going to see in detail today how it is working. So circular economy. What is circular economy? So Mother Nature is a wonderful example of circularity. So if you see flora and fauna, each one of it, right from the birth to the death, there is a cycle. And in between that, there is no wastage. There is no landfill. For example, a plant, it grows, it gives fruits, it gives vegetables, it gives shade. And once the life cycle is done, each and every part of it, even for the animal for that matter, each and every part of it is decomposed into the soil. And from there takes a new life. So in the complete setup, the loop is created, the circular loop is created, and there is no wastage. There is no landfill as such. But we as human beings, what have we done? Are we keeping this nature or the rhythm of nature in tandem? No, we are disturbing it. That is the result. This is the result like what we are facing today in the form of climate change. So circular economy is an economic system that targets zero waste and pollution throughout materials life cycles, from environment extraction to industrial transformation and final consumers, applying to all involved ecosystems. So here what circular economy is trying to tell is right from the designing of the product. When a company plans to produce a product, they are supposed to see that, okay, raw material, can I shift to the degradable, biodegradable raw material, a recycled raw material? Can I reuse any material as a raw material for my product? So they have to take all these things into consideration while they are designing. So if we see in our reporting also, there is a point where we are supposed to tell that how much we are spending on R&D and the capex. So this is where the designing should be done in a proper way, where it will help in circularity. So if we see, there is lots of landfill and wastage, and only 33% of e-waste and 30% of plastic is recycled. I've taken e-waste and plastic because these are the highly consumed materials. Even CPCB is very much serious about how the end product of this is disposed. So if we see, there is a huge gap, 33%, 30 to 33%, which means 67 to 70% of the material, where is it going? It is going into the landfill. Because of this thing, there is lot of regulations which is been imposed on the manufacturers of plastic and EEE, that is what we call as electronic and electrical equipments. So if we can see this graph, so why there is increase in landfill? Why are we not able to manage? Why are we not able to recycle? If we see the graph from 2019 to 2060, the recycle can increase only from 9 to 17%. If the trend is the same, the whatever we are following now, so that 17% should at least go to 50%. That is what I feel. So why there is a gap? Because of lack of awareness. If you can see the graph marked in purple, where the incineration is happening. What is incineration? If we see these small shops, for example, they use a lot of plastic, maybe in the form of cups or the packets, the chips packets. So this is the basic example I'm trying to give. And night, if we see, if we happen to just pass in front of shop, they burn it. They're not aware that they're not supposed to burn plastics. So in this form, 20%, around 20% of the plastic is getting burnt. So then the landfill, if we continue the same trend, the 50% of the plastic or e-waste will be in the landfills. So that has to be targeted now and mismanaged. You'll be shocked to see that, we see the ads, right, where they ask us to segregate waste. If we don't segregate the waste properly, the dry waste and the wet waste, so we cannot use that product for recycling. So that is how it is mismanaged. So we can see so many ads nowadays, they're urging us to segregate waste, because if it is segregated properly, it's again a business outside. So there are many units which are waiting for this waste to get segregated properly, and they can use it for recycling. So what is the effect of improper waste management? Why should even we bother about proper waste management? So there is environmental impact, there is social impact, and also there is economic impact. So already, as I said, because of emissions, we are already facing global warming, and this summer is really hot. And what is the environmental impact? The single-use plastic is believed to take thousands of years to decompose, which leads to soil and water contamination. And the health impact, when they are burning the plastics, so it is emitting lots of gases, which is not good for the human health. Economic impact. If we see Bhutan, it's called as green country. There is no plastic usage there. Obviously, the tourism will increase. So these are the impacts of improper waste management. So then what government is doing to tackle this problem? So there is a concept called as EPR, that is Extended Producer Responsibility. So what does EPR stand for? For example, Coca-Cola, they produce the PET bottles for their cool drinks, right? So what government is telling us, if you're producing, example, 1 million tons of plastic, so you better recycle it. So is it possible for them to take all the bottles from the customers and recycle it? Maybe. Because when we were like small, they used to ask us to bring the bottles or the caps for that matter, and they will pay us little money. That is called as buyback. This is one way. But India being such a huge country, is it possible for Coca-Cola to collect whatever tons they have produced? It's not possible. So what is the way out is, There are different grades of plastics. I'm taking only plastic example here. I'm not touching on e-waste. So whatever, how much ever tons of plastic you're producing, and there are different types of plastics, right? So that particular type, what you do is from the waste collection units, you can process it, you can recycle it, and you can meet your extended producer responsibility. So it's nothing but you're polluting the environment, you clear it. So that is a responsibility what government is imposing on the corporates. So what are PROs? So, okay, Coca-Cola, it may have its own unit where the recycling can take place and it can bring the plastic from outside. But there are mid-sized companies which cannot have their individual dedicated setup. So to tackle this problem, PROs come into picture. PROs, what they do is, example, there is company A, it has produced maybe 1 ton of plastic for this month. So PRO, what it does is it will collect the waste from the municipality or the rack pickers or whatever way it may be, and it will try to help the company A to meet its EPR, maybe by taking some fees. And the way we have our TDS filing and GST filings, even EPR filings are there. They are supposed to file it to the CPCB. So this is how PROs are helping the corporates meet their EPR responsibility. So these are few examples what I've quoted. Every company is trying to recycle its product and they are setting their mission and vision statements, the goals and targets they are setting. So this is one example, typical example of a material recovery facility, what I was telling to meet the EPR. So the PROs can have this material recovery facility, or the company itself can have its own material recovery facility. What is this material recovery facility? So these people will take the plastic from various sources. If you can see, directly from wholesaler, kabadiwala, the informal waste pickers. There are so many rack pickers who have been appointed for this, and from the retail units. So all these things will come to facility. There, everything is computerized. So there is a proper data flow and the material flow. And finally, the pellets are produced, and that is raw material from many industry. For example, this processed plastic can be reused to make a plastic, and it is also a good raw material for the cement industry as well. So why MRF? What is the benefit of MRF? It is helping for a proper organized form of processing. There is proper data which is maintained on a regular basis, like how much amount of plastic is recycled and what is being done with the byproducts. And it is creating the employment to many people who are staying around the facility. And there is digital payment which is happening for transparency, and it helps in diverting the waste so that it will not go to the landfills. And also, as I said, it is creating the EPR opportunities for the brands where they need not worry about how should I comply with my EPR opportunities. Simply, I will go to a PRO and they will be having their own MRFs and they will help us to meet our EPR requirements. So this was about circular economy, and I think questions we can take in the end. So you can note down your questions. So the next concept is the ESG reporting. So in the previous sessions, we have understood about net zero and the carbon credits, the carbon market, and now we have touched upon circular economy. All these are the practices, sustainable practices, what the company is trying to follow, and it should be reported. It should be reported in a proper manner, because after taking so much of pain over the year, they have to report it properly, which can be used. See, just reporting is not enough. It should be used. It should be comparable. There has to be a base year which should be compared to that. It should be compared across the industries, and it should be useful to be compared globally. So that is where ESG reporting comes into picture. So then why the reporting matters? It matters because there is compliance. If we take in Indian perspective, BRSR is applicable for top 1,000 companies based on their market capitalization. First, when the BRR started, which is business responsibility report, it started with 100 companies. When I was doing my PhD, at the end of my PhD, it was for 100 companies. Then suddenly there was 5 times increase. It was applicable for 500 companies, and now it is for 1,000 companies. So compliance, because of the compliance, we are supposed to report. And when it comes to European Union or US or UK, GRI is considered as a framework which is acceptable. So for all these things, reporting is mandatory. And the positioning, obviously, when we say that, when we are reporting, BRSR or based on the GRI, our sustainability report, it will create a better reputation in the peers. Then fundraising. There are many bankers who are looking. See, when I was doing my training, also there were bankers attending this training, GRI training, because they wanted to fund only the companies who are sustainable. So even the fundraising going on will become very difficult if the companies don't follow sustainability and have their own sustainable reports. Cost saving, obviously, that is what I said. Now, when we are trying to set up a ESG practice in the company, there we understand there are so many problems which are there in the company which can be addressed. This is how it will help in cost saving. Last time also I was giving one example in relation to a foundry where the sand reclamation was not done by many companies, but when we are trying to set up the ESG practice, that was told to them. Till now, around 80% of foundries, they are not doing the sand reclamation. Sand reclamation is the process where, to make the casting, they use sand that is just left out of the company, but that can be reused. So all these things we come to know when we start the reporting journey. Then the productivity. Obviously, the ESG report, it is not that somebody is sitting and randomly generating the report. It is the involvement of stakeholders. Even my PhD topic was stakeholders' involvement in the sustainability reporting. When I was doing, none of the stakeholders were contacted in the company to generate the report. There were only countable companies who were producing sustainability report because it was completely voluntary basis. So when stakeholder is completely involved in each and every practice of the company, obviously there will be kind of inclusiveness in the mind of the people. So these are the names we come across on daily basis, and this is what makes this subject more complex. We feel that, so many frameworks are there, why to break our head? But no, it is very simple. Now IFRS is also coming to picture to make it really simple. But I've just tried to put across, not all are frameworks. There are some principles, that is the SDG, UNGC or OECD. They are just the guidelines. They are not the frameworks. When it comes to frameworks, there is GRI, IR framework, SASB, TCFD, SRSB, IISB, and our own BRSR. Then there are industry initiatives. Along with these frameworks, some industries, GRESB is related to real estate. And there are climate bonds. All these are just initiatives where that particular industry is asking. And there are indices. These are the rating companies. So if we come to GRI, GRI is a mother standard. It started its journey from 1997. Until now, there is an enormous improvement in the framework, and a company following GRI need not bother about other frameworks because it is such an exhaustive and inclusive standard. And only a few topic standards are ready now. Because GRI is divided into 3 standards. One is the universal standard, where the basic data related to company should be disclosed, as we have section A in BRSR. Then comes the sector standards, sector like, in relation to climate, etc. And then comes the topic standards. Only few, topic standards are the climate related one. Then the sector standards, there are only few sector specific standards are developed. For example, GRI 11 stands for oil and gas, 12 for coal, and 13 for agri and aqua. So still it is under the process of generating specific sector standards. So this is TCFD. TCFD is widely accepted. In Singapore, they opt for TCFD. TCFD is divided across 4 pillars, that is governance, risk, strategy, metrics, and targets. They ask for specific metrics and targets to be fixed. So this is about TCFD. Then comes the integrated reporting, where the reporting, this is all like, ESG, whatever we are doing across different capitals, they are trying to put in the report. This framework speaks about financial capital, manufacture capital, natural capital, intellectual capital, social and human capital. So just by seeing 3 frameworks only, we are feeling, okay, why there are so many frameworks, right? Because sustainability, which is aiming towards the future or the better sustainable future of the economy, why so many standards and make it complex? You don't believe there are around 600 frameworks across globe. So to address this problem, ISSB, if you see here, GRI, GRI, CDP, TCFD, SASB, IR, whatever we have discussed till now, everything is joining into IFRS, and shortly we will be having a one set standard globally, that is IFRS standard. Now only S1 and S2 is developed. S1 is the introduction standard and S2 relates to the climate. So this is our Indian BRSR. So if, as I told, in 2012, only 100 companies, top listed companies based on market capitalization were supposed to report on BRR. But going on, it has increased and it has become 1,000 companies. And there is also value chain assessment, and there is also assurance. This time assurance is mandatory. So going on, if the company doesn't take up sustainability seriously, they will be out of the race. So mapping of standards. So there comes the doubt that, after making a report, the exhaustive report of whatever the company has done in the past 1 year. So as per Indian mandate, I have to make BRSR. And as per Singapore, if I have a multinational presence, as per Singapore standards, I need to report on TCFD, as per UK on integrated reporting, and as per Dubai or US on GRI. So again, we may feel that how many reports we have to generate. So to address this problem, mapping of standards is allowed, where you have to prepare one sustainability report. And whatever we are speaking about sustainability or ESG or whatever frameworks, everything should be in alignment with the SDGs. So for example, SDG 13 speaks about climate change. So the climate change concept would have been addressed in our sustainability report. So to that, we will be mapping the GRI. And the same page, we will be mapping IR. IR, it speaks in natural capital, and BRSR in principle 6. So I will just show you how to map also. I've taken the screenshots of few reports. So if you see, this is the report of Tata projects. So this is where they're speaking about the consumption, how they're treating the waste and the water management. So this is called as mapping of standard. Here you will be writing a proper, elaborative and the descriptive part in the sustainability report, how we are addressing the climate. And here comes the mapping. So as I said, GRI 305, as per emissions 2016, GHG emissions are mapped in page 65. Okay, so this is about the BRSR. BRSR can also be mapped to the sustainability report. So assurance, I was speaking about assurance, which is mandatory for 250 companies now. So this is a sample of how assurance statement looks. Then the last concept of today's session, which is social stock exchange. So till now we are trying to understand about the sustainable practices and so many things. And there are few philanthropists, few people, example, retired people, they have some funds. Okay, they are mostly interested in donating to the social activities. NGO which is working towards social activities. But is it possible to go and locate a NGO, or else can I go to a nearby NGO and give my money? Will it be used in a proper way? That is where the social stock exchange, which is of recent origin, has come into picture. Till now, only 76 NGOs are listed here. I think around 36 in NSE and the remaining in BSE. So let us understand what social stock exchange means. So despite the presence of numerous NGOs, there is struggle to access adequate funding. There are many NGOs who really want to do some good work, but they are not able to get the funding. But when they are listed on SSC, because of the credibility SSC holds, because they are listed in NSE or BSE, they may get funding. And recently, I think last month, around 8 crore of funding was raised by just 5 NGOs through SSC. So the Central Statistical Institute of India reports over 33 lakh NGOs in the country, and out of 33 lakh, only 1.87 NGOs are registered with Niti Aayog. And our ERF Foundation is also one among that registration. So currently 39 NGOs have registered themselves with NSE and 37 with BSE. And just see, there are 33 lakhs NGOs in the country. So to benefit, to address the issues what NGOs are facing and also what philanthropists are facing, in 2019, our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she has suggested of setting up a SSC, and it happened in December 2020. So United Nations SDG program, which aims at so many goals, at least by 2030, we have to become carbon neutral, by 2070 for India to become net zero, and to eradicate poverty, to bring in the education. For all these things, SSC will emerge as a tool where it will bridge the gap between the philanthropists and the NGOs. So social enterprise. So here comes the question, who can list themselves on the social stock exchange? Here I'm not going too much in detail. There are so many requirements to get listed in social stock exchange. Just I'm giving brief about the SSC because of the time constraint. Okay, there are two types of social enterprises. One is not-for-profit organization, that is NPO or NGO, and for-profit social enterprise. So what does NPO include? A charitable trust, a charitable society, a company incorporated under Section 8, and any other entity as may be specified by SEBI time to time, right? And FPSE, that is for-profit social enterprise, will include a company which is formed under Section 8, but in view of making profit, which is directed to social activities, and a legal entity that conducts business for profits. Then these societies or the trust, to get themselves registered on SSC, they're supposed to meet the stipulations which are under ICDR regulations, where they are telling they have given around 16 factors, or we can tell 16 activities. Only in those activities these NGOs are supposed to work. And furthermore, 67% of its eligible activities are directed towards the designated target population. Whatever 16 activities they have mentioned, it should be spent on those activities. Then how do these NGOs or the for-profit organization will raise funds? Is it like, can we trade it like a retail trader? The way we get ourselves listed on some stock broking app, and can we trade these bonds or these shares? How does it happen? So there is a concept called zero principal, zero coupon bonds, where it will not have any interest or there is no repayment at the end of the maturity. So those kind of bonds are released at a discount. So that is where you get a benefit. That's all. So why should I have a social stock exchange? Why should I go through such a difficult route to raise the money? And why should an investor invest in this? Because he's not having any interest or any maturity proceeds at the end of the tenure. So it is nothing but a donation which will go through a proper channel. And there are some restrictions also, that who can register under SSC. Suppose, for example, we have Reliance. Can Reliance register under SSC? They have their own Section 8 company. Can it register under social stock exchange? The answer is no. The corporates are not allowed to register on SSC because they have their parent company which is funding that unit. So they don't need outsider funds. So this is to benefit the medium and the small NGOs to come out and help public at large. And who can invest in not-for-profit organizations? Only retail, whether retail investors? No, only non-financial institutions. Only financial institutions can invest in these kind of funds, and retail investors can invest in for-profit organizations through the main board. That process is different. As I said, why should I take such a long route to do all these things? And will it benefit to me? As I said, in last month, around 8 crores is being raised by only 5 NGOs. And as I also told, the number 33 lakhs, and there are only 76 listed. It's a long way to go, and we have short time left where we are supposed to meet our SDGs. And this social stock exchange will completely change the scenario of the market, which is directed towards the social activities. By here, I end my session. Now I can take up the question answers. Many companies mentioning buyback rates, particularly polygraph bags are mentioning, but actually they don't have buyback mechanism. Okay, I think there you have to, ask the company about the mechanism. Sometimes what happens is, as a part of their EPR responsibility and they're supposed to meet the requirement, they will be mentioning it on their bags or on the website, but there won't be any unit as such who are doing that. So we have to ask the company directly, like what they are doing. Are CSR contributions by corporate permitted in zero coupon, zero principal bonds issued by NGO? Yeah, so this is the reason. So what I'm telling is, the corporate contributions, there are certain restrictions. That is what I said. I'm not going in depth. We have to meet those restrictions to get these bonds, because the corporate investments are not entered. They have their own parent company. There are few companies which can invest to meet their CSR activities. Thank you so much. By what time the sustainability reporting BRSR would be applicable to unlisted companies? Unlisted companies, see, this is a very good question. I can take this way. See, listed companies, it is mandatory. But as per principle 8 in BRSR, it is asking how much of your sourcing you're doing from a sustainable company. So now we are also working on a project where it is just a private company. So for that, we are supposed to prepare a report, because their customer is asking. So it's the customer initiative. They want to become carbon neutral. So all their suppliers should become carbon neutral. So indirect applicability has already started. Even European Union, they are also sending questionnaires to their suppliers to meet certain ESG regulations. So indirectly it has started applying. If a company have metal products and plastic is used only for packaging, then EPR is applicable. Yeah, CPCB has clearly given the regulations for who the EPR is applicable. Only if it is used for packaging, then the waste management comes into picture. But only when they're manufacturing. When they're manufacturing plastic, EPR is applicable as of now. Where is India currently as a to achieve UN SDG? We are really far away. We have to speed up to gain the momentum, because in the Paris Agreement, even India has agreed that by 2050 we will go net zero, but now it has been postponed to 2070. So there only you can see where we are. So, and I feel it's collective responsibility of all the citizens to go towards this goal. And what we can do as a normal citizen is reduce overconsumption. If we cannot reduce overconsumption, do not hoard anything. If you are buying some new item, at least one item you have to discard, give it to whoever is needy. At least in that way we can do. And segregation of waste. As I said, if we don't segregate the waste properly, it is of no use. It cannot be further processed. What is the current policy vis-a-vis plastic used by retail industry in our country? Is the policy centralized or state governed? We still see a lot of plastic being used by shopkeepers. Why is this being allowed? That is what I'm trying to tell you is people are used to certain kind of lifestyle. They cannot change it overnight. So that is how they are. If you see the plastic bags, what we used to get before, and the what to call that, now what we are getting, that is completely different. Now they are encouraging cloth bags, and they are also encouraging paper bags. They're charging for the bags. That is how we are taking from home. All these things are happening, but we can also give our part by not using it much. Can this investment be considered in CSR activities for company? I think I answered this question. The entire mechanism appears top down. How could it grow from grassroots? Yeah, that is there, sir. As of now, every company, just to meet the mandate, they are doing many activities, but it will get instilled in each and every one of us, because indirectly we are either the internal stakeholder or the external stakeholder of the company. It will come, surely it will come. Thank you for providing knowledge on the current state of affairs in reporting within a short time. You were so clear. Thank you so much. And she shares my name. Thank you so much for that. Where can I read and understand the restriction on CSR contribution as mentioned by you? Okay, you can get this on NSC website. If you just type SSC, you will get the detailed regulations stipulated. ESG for mining industry. Yeah, mining industry is highly polluted industry, and they have a lot of restrictions for each square feet of mining. What they do, they are supposed to plant this many number of trees, and there is a way lot of restriction for mining industry, and ESG is very much important in this. Do you think there has been improvement in financial performance of Indian companies because of ESG practices? Obviously, there will be some ROI what we can go on expecting, maybe in future, maybe near future. It may not be too far also, but as of now, everyone is thinking that this is a cost to them. So it will also start fetching result. Are there authorized auditors who can carry out the ESG audits in our country? See, as of now, SEBI, as per the assurance, whatever I was telling for BRSR, there is nothing as such which is specified. So you need to be independent. So if you're doing internal audit of that company, you cannot be an assurance provider. And when it comes to ESG audits, as of now, nothing is mandatory. Example BFS, one second, I'm not able to see this question completely. Example of BFSI having its own format. I didn't understand this question. Can we get a copy of your presentation for reference? Yeah, I will send it across to the board. Is government allotting enough funds investing for the infrastructure required for becoming net zero? Yeah, the grid, what in COP 27, what happened was one grid, one solar grid, one globe. That is what the initiative was taken by the UK PM and our Narendra Modi ji. So it is happening. There are not enough MRF recycling companies. This needs to be boosted. Yeah, this is $1 million business. So if you feel there is nothing in your vicinity, you can please take it as an initiative. And there are many incubation centers who are funding these kind of units. So you can take benefits of that also. What is the best course to do for becoming a ESG BRSR consultant? So even our ERF is also having a course which is wonderfully curated to address this, that you can take, and if you're a CA, you can go for BRSR. The circular economy in short with a few examples for better understanding. There are several ESG tools which have come up in the market, which promises to produce the several statutory reports like BRSR, GRI. Are they reliable? Any recommendation? Yeah, there are so many tools which have come up on SaaS platforms. So they're still updating themselves. As I said, each company is different, each industry is different. So what I would suggest is before going on and using those tools, just see how the reports are being generated and you can go with that. Is there no pressure on, let us say, in places where there is footfalls like Mars to have facilities for different types of disposing unused small items like plastic?
I believe Rashmi ma'am's connection is lost.
Yes.
Before we move on, there was one specific question about the course that they were suggesting. So it was suggested by Rajesh Bhalla sir earlier that ESG Research Foundation, in collaboration with Ramanujam College, we offer a fundamental of ESG and sustainability program. The batch has started from 26th of April, which is from yesterday. But the admissions are open till 30th of April. So if anybody is interested in joining the course, they can get in touch with us. They can, you have my number. You can, WhatsApp me or you can call me, and I can explain you this process, how to go about it. So I believe we have Rashmi ma'am has completed our entire deliberation, and she has answered all the questions, all the queries that have been raised by the participants. I would now like to request Mr. Rajesh Bhalla sir to give a vote of thanks. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Juhi ji. So on behalf of our ESG Research Foundation, I convey my hearty thanks to our founder director, Honorable C. Deepak Batra ji, to join us today in spite of his busy schedule. I also thanks to our eminent faculty, C. Rashmi ji, for giving this wonderful presentations and answers to the queries. I am also thankful to the participants for making the event a grand success, and also to the office, Juhi ji, Pooja ji, for excellently managing this webinar. We are sure the deliberations of this webinar today, definitely the participants' skills and knowledge would have sharpened, and it will be very, very helpful to them in their decision-making process relating to ESG activities, guidelines, and regulations. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And we will be having another webinar in the next month, for which we will be giving the due information through our website, through our WhatsApp group on the topics and the faculty. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Joyji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants, and thank you all the speakers. You have a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank